Welcome to the From Foster to Blank podcast, where we're highlighting former foster youth who have discovered their passion in life and creating their own purpose by redefining what success means to them. It's almost like a Where Are They Now podcast. Within every single story, we will see different people highlight what inspired them to change the direction of their life and how they achieve their own goals by redefining what success is. The best part is everyone is going to have a different definition of what success is, and we get to learn from them. The other neat part is that every single one of these people are going to highlight what they do, and they're going to give advice on how they got there. This is an educational podcast for people that are like you and me, foster care kids, but we're going to see it from a different lens of positivity. So here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the From Foster to Blank podcast. I have my friend here, Michelle. I'm super excited to get to know what she does and give us her wisdom. So we're gonna have Michelle take it away. Michelle, what do you do?
I am working on my bachelor's degree, but I am working in retail at the moment. I am currently working towards my bachelor's in for psychology. So that's exciting, and I'm pretty close to say. I had to put it on hold because of my children. Two are on the spectrum, and one deals with anxiety. So
That's hard.
The goal is to be a therapist. It is extremely difficult, but with intensive therapies and ABA, which my son will be signed up soon for ABA, and my little one is getting speech and OT. It's a lot of more help.
Yeah, absolutely. Those programs are so great to have. Can you share with us what ABA is? Because not everyone listening is going to be aware of what that is.
Okay, so basically ABA therapy is it's more intense than it's to help them build life skills and help them integrate like daily tasks into through therapies. So like it could be from like learning how to dress ourselves, or not necessarily behavioral because that's separate, but it's more along with more structured throughout the day.
Oh, okay. So because he has anxiety, sometimes he's the one who has anxiety?
No, that's my daughter. She receives regular therapy, but my son, he's going to be receiving ABA therapy. So it's gonna happen very soon.
So with both situations with counseling, sometimes it's more intense, sometimes it's not. But with autism specifically, how does that help them with their structure? Like, because one of the things people don't know about autism is that structure helps reduce behavioral issues. So talk a little bit about that, because not everyone's aware of what autism is and how it can affect just the daily tasks like that.
Okay, so autism is basically, there's a huge spectrum of autism, and for my case, my oldest son is considered higher functioning of the spectrum. So he's able to verbalize and communicate some things that a lot of kids might not be able to with ASD, autism spectrum disorder. So with that, with the ABA therapy, it's gonna help implement structure, and it's like they thrive from that structure. So having a daily routine, something that is in the norm, they're familiar with it. That's why a lot of children with autism like to watch the same things, because they know what they know what to expect.
Yeah. Okay. So then helping the structure with them, are they doing the therapy to kind of help challenge them a little bit to accept change? Okay.
Yes, to help accept changes, like minor changes within their routine, because not every day you're going to go to doctor's appointments, but so it does help them integrate daily life's upcomings into their life. So, and because I haven't really started it just yet, I'm excited to see what progress I do see from this ABA therapy.
Yeah, and it's a lot not to have those resources. So I'm really excited that you do have those resources. And they're going to start. That's awesome. I love it. I'm like, oh, thank God. Cause I know that can be really hard, especially with high functioning autism, and then the spectrum is so different for every child. But
Oh yeah.
I have a few cousins who have autism and a few friends who have children with autism too. And the biggest thing is that structure. It's so hard to get them, like, it gets really difficult when it's the summer because they're not in school, and it's just
Yeah.
hard because you're just like, no, change is okay, but they have to learn that it's not something
Yeah.
that comes natural of like, oh, this is great. It's like in them internally, it's like something's wrong and I don't know how to express it. So it can be very, very challenging for parents.
Most definitely. And my other son, he's 2. They're gonna start him on, I don't know the exact breakdown, but it's called ESDM. I think it's something Denver, early something Denver model. And
Mhm.
basically it's intensive therapy to where it will help. It's kind of like ABA therapy, but more lax, more not as structured, not as like rigorous
Okay.
as a
Okay, but
yeah.
it's still along, like, it's more tailored
Yeah.
to what he needs. I like to know that there's different types of therapy because I think sometimes we're like, oh, it's all the same, and it's not. So you also said you're going to school for psychology. What are you wanting to do with that?
Yeah. I would like to become a therapist. I've always, I've grown up with my own problems, and I kind of want to, I through my own therapy, I've learned how to cope with all the things that are happening in my daily life. So I want to be able to help others be able to cope and to be able to manage daily life with whether it's anxiety, depression, or bipolar, or any. I just want to be that person that they can lean on and me give them advice. And I
Yeah,
want
absolutely. I love that though. Okay, and you're also a mom. That's amazing. And I know, people are like, yeah, Denisha, duh. She says she has kids, but you're a mom. And that's awesome because I don't think a lot of people highlight that as like a win. You're killing it. And you're in school. That's hard. That's a lot of being pulled in a lot of different directions. All right. So we're gonna go to our second question. How would you define success?
To me, success is something that you set for yourself and something that you're able to accomplish, something that you're able to accomplish and thrive in. That's success to me, is
Oh, wow.
thriving in your goal, living out your goals. That's
I
success.
love
Or
that.
it doesn't even have to be a big goal. It could be a small goal of, I want to lose 2 pounds this week, or anything like that.
I like that a lot. I like that you said it's something that you set yourself and something that you can thrive in, not something that you're setting the goal and the success beforehand to say, I could thrive in this area or this
Yeah.
arena or this decision. And like, it might not be 100% perfect, but you can thrive in it and it'll be good for you. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to share on that one?
With the success, that and everything is at your own timing. So it doesn't matter. Don't ever compare your goals or where you should be in life to other people, because nobody's journey is ever the same.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. It's your own timing and it's not the same as others.
Yeah.
So with your story a little bit, how have you seen like that win for you when it comes to defining your own timing and defining your own road almost?
So for me, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I'm able to be present for my children and able to be there for them. And even though my life isn't completely put together, like I don't have like the best paying job, and I don't have the extras. I have the necessities, but to me, it's like I'm able to watch them grow and be there for their experiences. And to me, I take it as like, yeah, I don't have doctorate. I don't have my bachelor's just yet, but I am present for my children. I'm able to be present. So that's how I'm able to be okay with everybody's 31 and they already have their degrees, and I'm okay with not having it because it's at my own time.
So let's pause there for a second, because not everybody has their degrees at 31. I know a lot of people who don't, and that's fine. But what I can't say that there are a lot of parents I know who are present with their children.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people with degrees, but let's sit there for a second. Like, that's a huge win that you get to say that, because as you know, I'm not sure of your whole story, but I know, like, as someone who didn't have present parents, money, time, energy, like, what I wanted was them to be present.
Yeah.
That's a huge win. Like, bigger and more important than any other thing in the world is that you get to be present with your kids. That to me is success. Like, holy moly. Like,
yeah.
I love that. Do you want to say
no,
on that?
I do. I feel like a lot. So with that being said, it's at everybody's own timing. I feel that because, like I said, I am able to be there for my children. I know that. Thank you. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I know that I'm able to be there for my children. That's a huge success on my part as a parent.
Yeah.
And I know that nobody's road is the same and everyone else has different obstacles. But for me, growing up, that was my goal, because I didn't have, not even my parents were present, and they weren't doing something to better their lives. You know, they were out there doing other things in the world. But to me, it's valuable. It's being a parent is something that I've always wanted to do as well. So I'm living out the dream of giving my kids everything that I ever dreamt of having as a kid.
Can you tell me what you mean when you say being present? Like, I want to make sure, like, people, like, how does that play out? What does that look like for someone who might want to say, ooh, I want to be present? What does that look like for you?
So being present is being there for them, and not just taking them to activities, but also being able, like, to say, I took my daughter to dance recital and I got to see her do her first pirouette, or I dropped her off on the first day of school and I was there to pick her up. And that's just present for, like, the actions, but there's so much more presence in being involved with your children. Like, whether it's being there for their practices and stuff like that, or like being there for emotionally for them, because that's such a huge emotional support and love, and showing them that you're willing to put your things to the side for them. Like,
that's a big deal, because I think sometimes as parents we're like, but I take you to the football, I take you to the dance, I take you this there, and they're like, you're not emotionally available for me though. That hurts when some people get all the things and some of us don't get all the things. But I think when we have someone who's there emotionally for us and is available to look us in the eye and say, like, I see you, I know you, I'm here for you, it's like a game changer for us. Like, we don't need all the things, we just need the people. And that the things just make life easier sometimes, but it's that emotional connection that we desperately desire to have. And to do that as a parent, it's a hard thing when you're being pulled in so many different directions, but you're able to do it, and you get to do that for your kids. And that's a huge, to me, that's bigger than any degree or title or job or paycheck. Like, being able to say, like, I know I'm emotionally, mentally, and physically there for my kids. Oh, okay. Gotta change. Like, we gotta change that. I think more of us need that to be encouraged that it's good to have that. I love that. Okay. If there is any advice you would like to give, what would that be? It could be about anything.
It goes back to, don't compare yourself to other people's successes, and don't compare yourself to what others have or have not accomplished. You know, everyone's on a different journey, and there are more struggles sometimes than others, and then there may not be. But definitely don't ever compare yourself to anyone else's wins or losses, because you make your own time for yourself. And doing so, like if you were to like, oh well, they're 26 and they just got their degree or whatever, don't do that to yourself, because their life wasn't your life.
Yeah. And I think too, sometimes like even if they're 26 and they had a similar life, like there might be different factors that contributed to them being done faster. Maybe it's the subject that they were studying. Maybe they, we don't know what their life looked like, but the danger of comparing really leaves us it's more jealous, and it doesn't allow us to move forward. So if someone is comparing, how have you gotten out of that mindset when you've found yourself like getting stuck into like, well, they're 26, I'm not, and I'm older and I should have my stuff together. Like, what do you do to stop that comparison in your mind?
Well, I just tell myself, like, exactly how you said it, like our life experiences are different. Like sometimes they don't have kids, or they just have one kid, and like I always tell myself, Michelle, you're doing it again. Like, you can't do that to yourself, because you're not them. And your life is meant for you, not for them. Like, you live by your own life, not by their life.
I think that there's just kind of like, and it's been around since all of us were, I don't know, the last 30, 40, 50 years, is just like, there's a competition. Like we feel like the competition is everyone around us, but really it's like our only competitions with ourselves and who we were yesterday. But I think because it's instilled in us at a young age, like you have to go out and be someone and go and get all the things and go do all the things, we don't account for when conflict or barriers happen to getting to our goal. And that's where I think like competition can be really good for us, because we understand that we're not up against the world. Like if we were in a sport, we know like we want to win, we work together as a team. But like if we were ever in like an individual one-on-one competition, like we look at everybody almost as like you're in my way, versus like we can go further, stronger together. I can ask people for resources. I would love to go to someone and be like, hey, how do you do this? People who went before me, and they pour back in. But sometimes what happens is that pour in looks more of like, I'm not going to help you because you're going to take over what I'm doing, versus I'm just going to pour into you and then see where you get to go. But I think that happens in a lot of our lives, in comparison all over the place, where we just consistently we look at the danger of comparison is looking at other people as if they are, they're going to replace us. And no, that's not it. Like, that's not good. Yeah. And I don't like that.
I know. I completely agree with that, because I feel like, because there's a lot of my goals that I wanted to reach this year. Like, for example, I am into acting. I want to be an actress one day. And I feel like when I tell certain people that are already in the industry, I feel like they don't give me that same like resources that they receive, because I feel like they, like it's a competition, and it's like, no, like if I have access to something, I share it. Like any resource I get for former foster youth, I'm always sending it to people. I'm always letting them know, hey, apply for this resource. Like I'm spreading the word, because I feel like as people, we should uplift others. And especially within my community of foster care, I want to see us all thrive.
Yeah.
I want to see us all succeed in our goals.
I love that. So you were saying like, okay, if I have the resource, I'm going to give it to you. What does that conversation look like? If someone were to come to you and say like, hey, Michelle, I really want to do this. How does that, like, what is your first thing that you tell them at first?
If I already obtained that resource, resource, I would say, contact this person, let them know your situation, and let them know you want to apply for this resource. But say if I didn't receive it myself, I would still tell them to give it their best shot and apply for it. Just because, the worst they can do is say no, and, you don't have that resource. But definitely I'm always willing to give out those resources, just because, like, not even my own social worker gave me resources for THP housing, transitional housing plus, because I was almost to the age of transitioning out of THP. So, like, I had to do my research myself. So it's like, why not help somebody who was in my shoes? Like, I'm not gonna let them like struggle frantically searching for answers when I already know the answer.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm trying to find out who it is, but I'm like pulling up my phone in my face. There was an actress that was sitting down with Queen Latifah, and she was saying, like, oh my gosh, I'm almost there. I promise I'm going to find it. But she basically, what she was saying was like, Queen Latifah was on a movie with her, and it was like, she was the this other actress was the comic relief. And she was having a hard time with like her role. And like, she's supposed to be the funny one on this show. And Queen Latifah was like, girl, just go out and be you, do what you do. And she's like, but it's your show. She's like, you will never outstage me. I'm not afraid of that. And it wasn't said in a way of like, girl, you're never going to be on my level. Like, I'm not scared of you. It was just like, you are you and I am me. Like, you are going to go out and shine, and I want you to shine. And for me to hear that from a really, really like phenomenal actress that I have like loved my entire life and like have looked up to be like, she's not afraid of someone coming in and stealing her job. She's just like, you show up and do you, I show up and do me, and together we get to make this really amazing. And I think that that's super powerful, especially women doing that with women, instead of being, you're my competition, I'm going to cut you down. It's like, I want to rise you up because I want people to see you. And I'm not afraid of you getting to be you, because I'm going to continue to be me. And we both offer something unique, and not being in that mindset of competition. And I think that like you said, like your caseworker didn't even walk you through how to do the housing. And it was like, what? or how to get help or how to get resources. And you had to figure it out on your own. And it's like, some people really do have that belief of like, I had to struggle, so you have to struggle too. Go figure it out yourself. And it's like, what if, mind blown moment here, if we just stop doing that? And what if we do it to where it's like, I'm not afraid of you coming and taking my job, because we both offer something unique and there's room at the table for us both. Like, ooh, how powerful would that be if we were just like, there is room at the table for us both, and we're not underplaying each other. We're not going to overplay ourselves to make us look better. We're just going to be us and let both of us shine, which is possible. But I don't think people realize that that can happen. And I'm like, okay, what?
I know, I'm right there with you, because like I said, I like, with every resource that I've ever had, like, I'm always like, oh, like, for instance, A Sense of Home, they help furnish former foster youth's first apartments. And I'm always talking about it, like, oh, once you get your place, reach out to A Sense of Home. Like, they're amazing, like, they're the best team. They genuinely want to see you thrive, and it's something that's going to help you want to maintain your space, like, and it's telling everybody about them. I bring myself and my daughter to volunteer. Not two boys, just because one's smaller and the other one gets overwhelmed a lot. But my daughter, and we go volunteer, and it's just a great sense of community. Not only that, it will help them build like family through A Sense of Home. I built so much family, and that's just with basic connections of like meeting other former foster youth who made it, obtained a space, which is huge. It's huge. It's a huge thing, only because a lot of foster youth don't make it. They don't get the resources, they don't get the help, they don't get the knowledge, they don't get the resources.
Yeah, and, no, absolutely.
And it's sad. so sad. But
And I
to
don't
be
think
there,
people like, can you talk a little bit more about like, okay, why don't foster youth get the resources? Talk about that a little bit. I know you hit on it a little bit, but I want you to deep dive into that. Why do they not get the resources?
I feel like a lot of it has to do with one, the social worker not giving them, not being fully transparent of all the resources that they have. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's one reason. A reason is they see them as, like, I guess, like, I don't want to say like delinquent, or like they see them as like, oh, they're not gonna go anywhere. Like they're just gonna abuse it. Like they're gonna apply for the Chafee grant, the $5,000. They're gonna apply for it. They're just gonna blow it on something, whatever. I'm not gonna tell them because they're not interested in school. But if they spark that interest, like, oh, I can apply for this grant to go to school. Who knows what the possibilities are?
Yeah.
The third reason I believe is because they don't, maybe they aren't even aware of what resources they have after they age out, which doesn't make any, I'm pretty sure they have access to that information. I confronted my worker about it when I was in the system. I was like, why didn't you tell me about ILP, independent living program? Why didn't you tell me about that? And she's like, oh, I didn't know if you were interested in it. Whether we're interested in it or not, those are resources that we need.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the things that, and I want to kind of highlight this because statistics speaks volumes, because sometimes we say, well, most or some or all, because that's what we know. But this is like a fact, is that research is showing that just in California alone, 31% of Californian foster youth are experiencing homelessness. 50% of the homeless population in the US, this is according to National Foster Youth Institute, 50% of the foster homeless population is at some point had experienced foster care. That's a huge number.
Mm-hmm.
Within National Alliance of End Homelessness, they stated that researchers are finding that 31 to 46% of foster youth exiting foster care experienced homelessness by the age of 26. So you're like, just having an apartment means that they are successful. And that's so true. Yeah. I was homeless. I lived in my car for a full year. I went to and lived in 33 different places by the age of from 18 of aging out to 24. That's a lot of places to live. And that is really hard to know that some people are just not getting the resources. Sometimes it is that the caseworkers are not, and I'm going to say this, the caseworkers are not giving the information. There are great caseworkers out there, and then there is not great caseworkers out there. And some people are like, well, that's not the caseworkers' jobs. So we're going to highlight, talk to a CASA, like Google an organization. But if you don't have someone telling you, yes, there's resources out there for you, like in my situation, I was told there was nothing for me, you believe them. And you don't look, or you do look and you keep getting no's from all these organizations. It's so discouraging. So what is something that if you were, say that you ran into someone or someone listening right now who said, you know what, I have been told no over and over and over again, what would you say to them to help encourage them to keep trying and keep going?
Like if they kept getting denied services or if they didn't have any services?
Both. Let's do both.
If they kept getting denied services, I would let them know to not give up, but to dig deeper, and Google resources for resources that specifically what they're looking for, like to Google it and to call, not just call, but show up. Because a lot of times over the phone, they're going to tell you, oh, I'm sorry, our wait list is full, whatever. But sometimes getting yourself ready, like for like an interview ready, you go, you show up, hey, I'm interested in this apartment. Is there a wait list? Yes, there's a wait list. But in that moment, they're looking at you, they're interviewing you, they're looking at everything. They're looking at every detail. So just showing up alone says, hey, this person really wants this. Maybe I can make room for them, or maybe I can, let me see what I could do. And if maybe like if if they haven't found any resources, I would reach out to um, extraordinary families, which they also help former foster youth, or I would reach out to any organization that helps foster youth, and they can put them in the right direction.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes we get stuck at the county level and we forget to Google those organizations. Okay, so if someone say that maybe they keep getting, that's for people getting no. What about the ones who just don't know where their resources are? What would be that advice to them if they're just like, I have no idea where to even start?
I would put them in the direction of a place. I would give them a reference, like, oh, I would look into a Sense of Home. They have a huge resource list of everything that you're available to get. Because when you get your home creation, they give you a list of resources that are available to you. So I would say, hey, check out this place. Go in and see if they have anything. Or I would refer them to all the people that I had already known. Like I had made, hey, I know this person works here at Extraordinary Families. See if there's something that they can do for you or put you in the right direction. Or hey, just Google it. Go to Google and type in former foster youth assistance.
Start with something rather than just saying I don't know, is what I'm hearing.
Yes,
I love that.
I don't know is not an answer. It's not an answer, and it's no help.
That's a hard truth to hear though, because it's like sometimes I'm like, I don't know. And it's like, but we have the power of Google. Like, and I keep saying that when someone's like, I don't know. And I've had to say that to a couple people, and even to myself, like we live in a day and age where we have everything at our fingertips and it's overwhelming. Like, let's be honest, it's overwhelming. But if we start with one place and we're like, okay, ask them. And this is what you said. You said, don't just say, hey, do you have this for me? Sorry, you don't qualify. You said, follow up with, do you have any other places I could reach out to? Because now you're not taking no for an answer, but you're also realizing that maybe we didn't know the question to ask. So if we don't qualify with this organization, all we need to say is, do you have any other resources I could reach out to? Do you know any other organizations that I can reach out to see if they have anything? Because then it's kind of a spiral domino effect of finding your resources. Just don't take no for the first answer and just be like, oh, I tried.
Yes, and that's another thing. Whenever you do reach out, I don't know how to say it, but like, don't leave empty-handed, which to me means don't leave unless you have an answer or another resource to reach out to. Because chances, okay, this doesn't work. Okay, well, do you know anywhere else? Well, you could try this place. And then you go like, no, but I actually know that this might work for you. Like you're getting a chain of different, there's like it's a one long train, and there's just hop into the next cart.
I like that you said don't leave empty-handed, because I think we get that no and we're just like, okay, and we are sad and we give up. But you're like, no, like you cannot leave without a number in your hand or another resource to call. Like, do not leave empty-handed. I love that so much. All right. Or do you have anything else you'd like to say?
If you are a former foster youth, or if you are currently in the system, I would start researching as soon as you can and ask as many questions as you can, because there's so many services that you are entitled to, and they're there for us to use them and to be our best selves. And just keep going, and don't let anybody stop you from reaching your goals or reaching your dreams. And don't let anybody tell you no. Don't ever accept no for that answer, because your potential is beyond anyone else's comprehension sometimes.
I love that. And I think sometimes when we hear like don't take no for an answer, we try the same person over and over and over again. And that's not what you're saying. You're like, okay, you don't have the answer that I'm looking for. Let me ask, do you have anyone else that I can speak to, or organizations I can speak to, resources I can talk to or find? You're not saying go harass the same person. You're saying go find the yeses from the organizations or the people who have the answers, but you do have to do the legwork to get there sometimes.
And definitely, like, say, like, if you are facing homelessness, look into don't go to like a homeless shelter on Skid Row. Yes, you can go there and ask, but type in THP plus resources. Go there, because foster youth, they're all connected. They're like, oh no, you don't qualify here, but you do qualify for this one, which is over here. So start with the organizations that help with foster youth, and it's a train. They all know about each other.
I love that. The train and look up specific foster youth support, because you're right, there are homeless organizations, but they might not know the resources specific to foster youth. And that's where we kind of stop our research and stop our train, is we're just like, oh, they said there was nothing. And like same with the county level sometimes, is that we go to a county like CalWorks or CalFresh, and they don't have the answers specific for foster youth. But if we go to an organization with foster youth, they have all of those, that paperwork or the trail for us to say, go talk to them. They know what this resource is. I love that.
And one more thing, another thing that has helped me with my children is, it's another resource. So I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's called Friends of the Children LA. With them?
I've heard of Friends of the Children. I didn't know LA had a chapter. So explain what it is.
Okay, so basically it's they're mentors for our children. And a lot of times in foster youth, we don't have family that are good role models. And Friends LA provides a positive role model for our children. And not only that, someone else that they can confide in other than us, their parents, but someone else that they can confide in and have a good time with, and take them to outings, and, you know, help them break out of their shell if they're a little, you know, shy, or, you know, help them to learn how to make friends and not be afraid to, you know, to communicate with others. And that has helped me so much, because it's not only giving me someone to talk to, but it also gives my kids someone else and a positive way to lean on or to count on.
I love that so much.
Yeah, there's so many resources, guys. There's so many resources for us. I wish I could just list them all, but
hey, you could. What I'll do is I'll actually have you list them, and then we'll put them in the description of YouTube. So anyone listening, you can go to the YouTube channel and look at the description. Michelle's going to provide as many as she can remember, and we'll just link them and then have them here for you guys to go look up. But this was great. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, thank you so much for your time and letting me be a part of this. And hopefully I've reached out to somebody.
Yes, this was super informational, because I don't think that we think about that like we need to sometimes take that train of information to the next thing. So this was amazing. Thank you so much. And I'll be linking everything that Michelle talked about in the description. And then if you guys have questions, you can always leave comments on the description box. Thank you so much, Michelle. This was great.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be a part of this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We want to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Foster Greatness. We equip foster youth by connecting communities and empowering individuals on their journey. We provide workforce development, master classes, travel abroad experiences, and individual and community support for foster communities. If you're interested in learning more, please visit fostergreatness.co. Thanks for joining us.